What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Posttopostpod. This week's episode 11. My name's Chris Ronan, and with me, as always, is my co-host Matt Small.
How you doing, guys?
What's going on, dude? Good week?
Good week. Busy week with a bunch of NHL games.
Yeah, right. A lot going on. One thing that we haven't even touched on yet is the Super Bowl. It's this weekend, and by the time we talk about this, we'll have already missed it. But what do you think? You gonna watch it this Sunday or no? Probably
not.
No, you're not into it?
Not into.
Do you know who's in the game?
Guy. No idea.
No,
actually, no. I just found out. Kyle told me yesterday or the night before. It was Tampa and with Brady and I don't even know the other team.
Yeah, the Chiefs. So you don't even care.
I don't really care.
Well, I have Tampa Bay beating them, but that's just me. You know. But yeah, pretty fun stuff. I mean, it's tough that we dropped the ball there, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's fine.
We did get one viewer request this week to talk about the Detroit Red Wings right behind me here.
This was rough. He's a Detroit Red Wing fan, and he wanted us to discuss it. But man, when I was doing this, there's no positives coming from this. This is all negatives. Like, there's just so much to break down with like the Red Wings organization itself and what's going on, and like I didn't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna like read verbatim everything like I found out. So. Here we go. Everyone's ready for a story time now. So, Detroit needs an entire overhaul, and I'm not sure where to start. Goaltending is a big issue, and for this team, so are a lot of other things. Bobby Ryan, Dylan Larkin, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Anthony Manta are the only players on the team producing goals, Bertuzzi being 5 and the others 4. Bobby Ryan, being one of the scorers, also is the team's worst enemy with 17 penalty in minutes. Dylan Larkin right there with them with 11. Now, whether or not these penalties from both of them are from pushing their hardest every time they're on the ice or they're weak penalties, it's costing their team. Being two of the best on the team, they need to stay out of the box. And you would think so, right? You would think two of the top players, why are they in the box? Like,
yeah, so I mean, I know for a fact that Larkin isn't throwing hands out there. Like, Bobby Ryan might, but even that would probably be 5 minutes of it. And yeah, it's all play penalties, I would think.
For some reason, I was so shocked seeing Bobby Ryan with all those penalty minutes, and I'm like, why is he in the box?
Well,
so
wait,
much?
How do you get an odd number of penalty minutes? You said they have 11 and 17. It has to be a fight each.
Has to be. Might be a fight. I don't know. Could be.
Because it's only 2 or 4, right?
Right.
So they must have both fought once.
I'm telling you, but they're in the box, though, which is no bueno. For goaltending, I don't know if Jimmy Howard discussed his retirement with the team before. I'm assuming he did, but if not, the team was clearly not ready for his departure. Both Greiss and Bernier are league backups being played as starters. Bernier, with the only 2 wins the team has this season out of 11 games, is evidence enough to say that, these two are not starting goalies. These two are just backup goalies playing as starters. Greiss has a 3.46 GAA with 8 games played versus Bernier's 3.54 GAA with 4 games played is the reason why Greiss is the starter. And that's rough. That's rough to say.
I mean, even looking at those numbers, the only reason I think Greiss is the starter is because he's been a better goalie. Those numbers are like almost identical. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. After reading all this, I told my girlfriend too. I'm like, they need a complete overhaul. Like they need to find a time to do it. And what I found out after this is, especially after this season, is this is a time more than any time for Detroit Red Wings to revamp, rehaul anything. Because after the season, there is a lot of restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents. For the restricted free agents, you have Adam Erne as a forward, Taro Hirose, Christian Juice, yep. Philip Hronek, and Tyler Bertuzzi. For an unrestricted free agent, you got Darren Helm, Valtteri Fibula, Luke Glendening, Bobby Ryan, Sam Gagner, Mark Stahl, Patrick Nemeth, John Merrill, Alex Bega, Jonathan Bernier, and Calvin Pickett. So a lot of unrestricted free agents. Two I noticed too is like big names like Bobby Ryan, Tyler Bertuzzi. Those are up there, and you got Bernier and Calvin Pickett, both goalies that are up as unrestricted free agents. What do they do? Like they're just like they're in a rough spot. Like my question is, like, if there was any good time to reset and go through a rebuilding phase after the season, like I said, it's this. But how many of these top guys are willing to stay for a losing team? With Burton,
sometimes it's not really up to the player. You know what I mean? We talk a lot about like, oh, maybe he'll walk, maybe he'll do this. Most of the time, it's kind of just, if I can get signed here, I'm going to get signed here and stick around, you know?
Right.
I mean, we are seeing more and more players getting pissed off with like Patrick Laine, which we'll get into later, and Pierre-Luc Dubois, or like a Taylor Hall and a Jack Eichel. You know what I mean?
Right. Again, with Bernier and Pickard being UFA next season, does Detroit make the push to keep them, or are they going to save money, rely on Greiss, and try to push and sign for better defensemen and forwards? So it'll be an interesting offseason to see what they do, because that's a lot of UFAs and RFAs. Like,
yeah, it really is, and it's going to be a 50-50 mix. They're going to have to pick and choose who they're keeping and who they're letting walk. I think, honestly, they should take Calvin Pickard and let him come up, and let Bernier walk, keep Greiss as your starter, and groom Pickard. Bernier's out right now day-to-day. I'm not really sure what that's about. Tyler Bertuzzi's out as well, so he's one of your main pieces. So
it's just... I mean, there's no positives with this. The more I looked into it, the more, I was like, man, they need something to go on. What was that? What was that stat that you found out? Besides Bernier's wins, it was 400. Games.
Yeah. So it's Detroit has had 464 days since any goalie other than Bernier has won a game for them.
Isn't that like?
That's so depressing.
Brutal.
That's October 19th of last year.
That's brutal.
It's insane.
I was gonna scratch talking about it, but I'll talk about it real quick. This week they played against the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is number one. They're number one in the division, obviously, and they're worst. And you get to really see how much they're lacking team wise in that game. Like, there were so many plays that they just did not, play. They didn't play like professional NHLers. They played like, I mean,
there was like a top
Bear League guys.
There's like a top comment on their fan page, and it was like, this team's basically an AHL team. Like, and it's kind of sad because it is,
Right. So as much as I, wanted to say, I mean, I don't really want to say anything positive, but if there was anything positive to say, I guess the only thing positive to say is that, all the free agents and stuff, the management for the Detroit Red Wings has a lot of work to do, and hopefully this postseason, they really start to get their cranks in gear here and just get things going, because they do need a complete overhaul. And hopefully they do get better throughout the years. Like, that's what you want. You don't want to see a team like this at all, especially if you're in Detroit and you're a big fan. You don't want to see this, but it happens. I think the biggest problem is Detroit for so long has been like these veteran player guys. Like, I think I looked up earlier today, like, their youngest kid is 22, but other than that, I think everyone else is 30 years plus.
Yeah,
like
that's
Jimmy
an old
Howard
team.
retired at 36 years old. Their goalies are like 32, 34 years of age. I'm like, they got to stop pushing for these younger guys, and I don't know. How some teams push for like certain players. I think that needs to change, and I think that needs to come.
Being like the original six franchise that they are, and the wagon that they were back in the day, I think they went like 25 seasons in a row without missing playoffs. You'd think that their farm program would be pumping out better talent than this. I mean, this season they've played 11 games. They're 2-7-2, and they're on a 7-game losing streak right now. Their goal differential is 19 goals against down. They're negative 19. It's they're getting smoked.
It's just bad.
I mean, it's going to be at least 3 or 4 years until we see an average Red Wings team that can even think about looking at the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's just detrimental to their youth, right, and their culture in the locker room,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be like a push, like it's going to be one of those like mid-season pushes to just get the points to get into the playoffs. I don't know. It's going to be a interesting offseason to see what they do. I think I'm going to be more interested to see what they do now after finding out all about this. But a coworker and a teammate of mine, Dave Blanchett, I'm going to quote him because he found something positive throughout all this. I'm going to quote him here. Their owner owns Little Caesars Pizza. Little Caesars was hot and ready pizza for $5.98. So there's that. And I'm with him on that. That's some positive shit right there.
That's something. That's
something.
Great.
Not a fan of that one? I mean, it's got to be some positive. Yeah. How do you say no to pizza? Pizza's good. I don't know, man. But yeah, that's what I got. I mean, there's no. I don't know.
Nothing really much to say.
Not really
I
much to say.
did want to get into Rasmussen's hit on Mackenzie Weegar in the Detroit and Florida game the other day. Just a bold-faced, dangerous hit. The guy knew what he was doing. Weegar did something the game before. I didn't really look into what it was, but he's just coming in hot in the neutral zone. Weegar's trying to chip the puck into the offensive zone and just lines him up with his back to him, numbers to him, knows what he's doing, and throws him into the boards head first. Like, these hits have to stop, man. Like, that's not getting even. That's not getting square. Nothing that guy did justifies doing that in my eyes. You know?
Not at all. I know we talked about last week, and I think the week before, too, of how now we're seeing, since these teams have been playing each other for so long, that we're now seeing, just hate between both different teams.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
And this is one of those things where, like, is it going too far? Like, you love a rivalry, but when it gets to this, it gets, it's dirty, and it's something you don't want to see.
And honestly, there's the bad part about having these back-to-backs is if you screw up one game, it's not like you're waiting a week to play the same team again. You're paying for what you did last time the next night or 2 nights away, you know?
Right. So, just rough, man. Just like after you said that, you got me thinking of like the Savard hit. Remember that huge concussion?
Yeah, was it Matt Cook?
Years ago, it was Matt Cook.
Yeah, he did that to a ton of guys too.
Yeah, and
it's gotten I'd say better. Like, it doesn't happen as much as it used to.
No, they have to push it. So that offside rule really helped out a lot, I think.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's something you don't want to see, and hopefully we don't see more of it because I don't know, like you don't want to see it in beer league, but also in beer league, guys aren't this big and going at that speed.
Yeah.
Whereas in the NHL, man, like just a little slip up will, I don't know, ruin you. But
I mean, in beer league, even like everybody's got to go to work tomorrow. Like, you don't want to see it there either.
Yeah. So I guess on a brighter note, not from us, especially since we're in a Bruins shirt. So I think Carey Price and Jake Allen here, you finally had that 1A, 1B tandem that we were talking about.
Yeah, they're looking really good.
I remember in the beginning of this whole thing where we didn't think Montreal would be this good as they are. They're second in their division right now, right next to Toronto.
I think we both might have put them outside of the playoffs or in that 4th spot,
And damn, were we wrong.
Yeah, they are second in their division right now behind only Toronto, and it's only by 1 point,
It's unreal. Jake Allen is 3-1 with a 2.02 GAA, .930 save percentage. Carey Price is 4-0-2 with a 2.77 GAA, .903 save percentage. So, I mean, both are looking fantastic.
This is a crazy resurgence for Jake Allen, too. He's really reviving his career.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't hear much about him last season.
No, and he came from a starter in St. Louis, right? Mm-hmm. Came from a starter in St. Louis to now kind of backing up throughout, I think, 2 different teams now, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's finally found his spot with he's been with Montreal for 2 seasons right now. I feel like I looked this up. It's either this season or the season before he was on here, but I think he finally found his spot here. And
I think Price is happy to have a decent backup
exactly.
now, too.
I think that's what helps, too, with goalies, too. Who's the backup for Freddie Anderson right now in Toronto? That's
Cal Peterson?
No. Shit. We looked that up. Sorry, I should have had this. I could visualize them too. But we're gonna talk about like good goalies, man. Like you need that backup where you can have that night off, where you can rest. I know this season's different, but there's 82 games in a season, man. Like you need that break. And when you have a backup goaltender that is just as good or almost as good as you, man, just like that, you're confident with that you're gonna be on that bench and not have to come out in the second or third period because your team's getting smoked. I think that really helps out a goalie tandem as we're talking about right now, and I think we're seeing it with both Carey Price and Jake Allen.
Yeah, Anderson's being backed up by Jack Campbell right now, right?
Jack Campbell, that's right. Sorry to put you through that.
No, that's
good. So with this, you want to talk about Toffoli owning the Canucks?
Oh my God, man, he is just lighting them up. He's just toying with them every night. He's had highlight reel goals just every time that they play, and the Montreal Canadiens are just rolling over the Canucks. I kind of expected the Canucks to be better out of the gate.
Yeah, for sure.
They probably have some growing pains. I don't think Holtby's looked as sharp as he should, and I don't think Demko's looked as sharp as he should. They both have had highlight saves,
Right.
but as a whole, the team just isn't getting the job done.
No. And again, going back to a few episodes, we talked about Holtby and Nate Schmidt coming in. So it's just the team trying to get used to each other, coming from different teams, playing a different way.
Yeah.
So again, this is just interesting and shit to see. Like we had for how long to Montreal? At least the past few seasons, we were just like, we don't think Montreal's that good enough to like push, but
yeah.
Totally different now.
They've been kind of like stuck in the past. They're kind of like the New York Yankees, where like we have all these championships, we'll flex about it forever, but what have you done for me lately kind of thing, you know?
Exactly.
While we're in the North Division too, my God, McDavid and Draisaitl just in a league of their own on the Oilers.
Unreal.
They're like, I think it was 6 and 7 points ahead of the next top players in the league for points scored. It's insane, man. They're not great. Like, the team's not great. They're 6 and 6.
No.
That's not special. But the two of them, man, it's
up.
insane. And their goal differential is -1, so they're scoring just as many as they are getting scored on. So they're in that run and gun offense, lacking defensively.
Right. I mean, you're gonna hear their name throughout the league for a while, especially this season. I mean, I feel like every time I'm looking at highlights, like you hear Draisaitl, you hear McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
Some of we're just watching a McDavid goal where he just kind of like just glided in and just scored.
Yeah, he's got these. It's almost like a cheat code the way his skates work. Like, he just can build momentum from nowhere. He's in the low right corner and just standing still, and then all of a sudden he starts to back skate and cuts to the middle, and he's just already cruising. It's nuts, man. He just creates offensive opportunities.
I've seen that a few times, but I still remember the one time where 3-on-3 and Hingham. I don't even know if you were there that night, but there was one night where one of the teams that we're playing against brought in this dude. He broke his back. He was a prospect for the New York Islanders. And he came in, and I know it's a small rink, but man, it was like
he could fly.
Watching him was unbelievable.
He had like a 6th gear.
It was like one push off, and like he was like down and back like the rink.
And he'd not a beat of sweat on him.
No, it was just so easy.
It's insane, the skill gap that there is.
It's unbelievable. And you could definitely see it from like the AHL, NHL perspective. Like this AHL, like you're professional, but like the NHL gap is just like, no, you're a professional to be in there. Speaking about goalies, I do want to get into the tandems here, and not so much of a good one with the Penguins here. The DeSmith and Jarry tandem. Watching them, especially this season and the past few seasons, I see like a seesaw type of thing where, 2 years ago, DeSmith forced Jarry down to the barn, and then last year Jarry forced DeSmith down, but then for some reason this year so far Jarry is having one of the worst starts and DeSmith is coming up big. What does that say about the goalie situation in Pittsburgh? Like, what do you think they can do to fix this problem?
I think it's just streaky play. Like, Pittsburgh as a team right now is not looking very good. They don't have anything great in front of them outside of Crosby and Malkin.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, they're okay, but it's just streaky goaltending. I don't know what else to say about it. They're 5-4-1 on the season, so I mean average.
Right.
Just nothing special.
I mean, you got Tristan Jarry with a 2-3-1 record. 3.92 GAA, which is, not good, and a .859 save percentage. Casey DeSmith is kind of hanging on with the 3-1 with a 2.85 GAA and .882 save percentage. So, I mean, DeSmith's hanging on. Jarry is. How bad? We're gonna get into Matt Murray after this, but I feel like every time we talk about the Penguins and the goalie stuff, I always think about Matt Murray because I'm like, now are we seeing why Matt Murray's gone and maybe Penguins are just kind of in a rough spot goalie-wise?
I think the Penguins just sold high on Matt Murray, don't you think?
Yeah,
because I mean they're not wrong. We're gonna get into Murray and he's been awful, so they made the right move getting rid of him. But these guys aren't ready to fill the holes. Step into the shoes that Fleury and Murray have left to be filled,
Yeah.
They're just not there yet.
one thing I did want to break down. So we learned that these breakdowns, especially for the viewers for Apple and Spotify, especially when you break it down and try explaining it, it doesn't really sound, like you said, like you can't really like visualize it from.
Yeah, even me and you, I was saying, I went back and listened to some of our episodes, and like me and you are talking about plays. I know exactly what play we're talking about, but I'm like, I'll look at it from an outside perspective and try to picture what we're saying, and it's just very difficult. You can't really keep up with it, you know. So I think it might be something that we start to make more of like an Instagram or like a YouTube profile for, you know.
But I did want to do this this week because I wanted to talk about short goalies. And DeSmith is one of them. So there's these two games actually back to back, and there was this play that DeSmith had that really caught my attention here. So the Penguins versus the Rangers on February 1st. DeSmith, it was a 5-on-4 power play, and if you watch DeSmith, he's a 6-foot goalie, but he doesn't play like for a 6-foot goalie in the NHL. Like it's still small, man. Like 6'4", 6'5" is where like
6'2" is like average now.
Just, it's just average. Yeah,
6'2" is average.
Exactly. And like in that, if you're that small, like we're gonna talk about Juicy Saros too, who's 5'11". Both of them small goalies. They're on the 5-on-4 power play, and DeSmith is like, I would say like mid crease, almost low, almost like deep in the crease, and Chris Kreider is just kind of sitting there like right in front of him.
Pull up the video too.
Yeah, I'll pull up the video for you. Oh boy, sorry. Yeah, so you know, in this video, oh boy, messed that one up. Yeah, so in this video, oh my god, I screwed this up so bad. DeSmith is just very low, and he can't do that. He's too small of a goalie. Chris Kreider is just sitting there right in front of him at the top of the crease. And there's no when you watch him, there's no push at all to get Kreider out of the way. There's no push to just get like on top of the crease and just try to take away that angle from the shot. Now, when the shot finally comes from the front, he's low. You see it right here. And he even backs up, so he's pretty much on like the goal line, and the whole like glove side, top, and like left side are just wide open. He's not that big of a goalie. He's not big, and he's not making himself look big. And yeah, you're gonna see it right here where he takes the shot and he comes down, and like just he's low too. So when he goes down, he's slumped over. And
okay, so looking at this picture too, like. Right now, Kreider is in front of the crease. He's not in the goalie crease, so DeSmith has no right to move him. If DeSmith comes out and like touches him, like that's on DeSmith, and now he has no argument if it's goaltender interference. So
but you got to get up there. You got to get.
You don't need to. That's your defenseman's job.
But you also shouldn't be. And look at the size of DeSmith right now. Look how much like he's not covering anything. He's not trying to.
Yeah, he's looking around him for a screen right now. That's not.
For me, especially since I'm his height. I put my glove on Kreider's back to make him sure that I'm right there. I'm right behind him.
He knows where you are. There's no need to touch him.
I'd be
the defense. It's the defenseman's job to move that body.
I'd be right on top of him. And then when you see that shot, he even goes back. You can't do that. And then the next game, which I do want to talk about with Saros too. It was the Predators versus Lightning game on February 1st. It was the same night. Saros at Saros at one point. This is like right in the beginning of the game. This is a block of save that he had, and he came out right into who's 19 right here for Tampa Bay.
Gaudreau, I think.
No. For Tampa Bay?
Yeah, it's not spelled like Johnny Gaudreau. It's Gaudreau.
Oh, Gaudreau.
It's pronounced the same way though.
Right. So you can see him right here. He's right on top of him. This is exactly what I was talking to you about Casey DeSmith being on top of Chris Kreider. Like Saros is 5'11", even smaller than Casey DeSmith, and he's out there. He's breaking it down. He's cutting the angle. He's making himself look bigger than what he actually is. And then when the shot comes, block a save right there to the side. Saros accidentally, had the same problem that DeSmith did that night too, where later in the game, it Stamkos that was coming around the face-off dot and took the shot. But if you pay attention to Saros, he's still down low. His right pad is past the post, and he didn't cut away that angle. And Stamkos just went block.
So this one that we're talking about, I didn't disagree with you on the Kreider one.
Mm-hmm.
I just think. So I do agree. DeSmith should have been out further, just like Saros was, and he makes that save.
Mm-hmm.
But Kreider being there, it's not the goalie's responsibility. His defenseman needs to be aware and take care of that there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But if there's no defenseman, I feel like it's still you still got to let him know you're there. You still got to at least push. Here's the Stamkos goal right here.
So the Stamkos goal, the reason that this one goes, Stamkos comes in, he's a main threat. They're also on the power play, I believe, yep.
Right.
And he's the main threat. The defenseman's in front of the net where he should be. There's an opportunity to the bottom left for Stamkos to pass this puck, and I think what happens here, this is Saros, I think he cheated to cover that pass, but Stamkos shot it to the other side.
Right.
Saros was also looking at a potential tip, and I think that's Gaudreau again out front of the net.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he cheated the play, and that's what opened up that low glove goal that Stamkos gets here.
Right. But, yeah, again, this is just what I want to talk about, especially for short goalies, is, these guys make these mistakes too. Saros being one of them. And, Saros being a big one. I don't see Saros going anywhere. Like, that's how great of a goalie he is,
I agree.
especially for his size. I know a lot of teams are just like, if you're not 6'4" or taller, you're not getting in the league. But Saros has really made his claim to stay on the Nashville Predators, and I don't see him going anywhere. Whereas Casey DeSmith, I think, is a different story. He might, depending on what the Penguins do, it can be sent down. But I just want to break it down for short goalies, especially goalies out there playing in the beer leagues and stuff, man. You gotta make yourself look big.
Even for a big goaltender, you have to come out and cut down the angle. That's just how it works.
Right.
If you're sunk back in your net,
right.
you're not going to make the save. There's a lot more opportunities and holes for a shooter to see. If you come out and shut that angle off, they can't really see where to shoot.
Right. And I know it's changed so much throughout the years. Because do you remember Henrik Lundqvist? He used to just kind of sit right at the goal line. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah.
Just used to be deep all the time.
That was like the cheat code in NHL 12 too.
Yeah, just kind of
sit on the goal line and just hope it hits you.
Exactly. And the game's changed so much now. You even see Lundqvist doesn't do that anymore. He's out, challenging.
He's got some of the strongest skates in the league too. He's so strong with his footwork.
I don't know. Just something I wanted to break down. I'm glad I saw your opinion on that, but personally, from when I was looking at both, I was just like, I can't see Vasilevsky, even if he did like what you said over there, over a commit with Saros there. I think Vasilevsky is still big enough where he would make that save.
Potentially. The way Stamkos shot it was perfect. Mm-hmm. He fakes like it's going to go down to that player that's down low, and then the opportunity for that low player to even tip it is available because there's no defenseman. And then just the placement of the shot, too. It's above the pad, but it's below the glove. So, Gumby would probably make that save, But,
But, I don't know. Just something I want to talk about.
Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of these breakdowns. I love doing them.
Yeah.
But I think we should look into doing them on, the video platforms.
Video platforms. Because after he said that to me, I was just like, oh, no, that makes sense. And, it's rough, again, for listeners. And I think I was picking up on that as I was trying to break this down, too. I was trying to do a better job at it. But
you did. I thought this was really smooth, tonight's breakdown.
But, I don't know. We got to... We'll switch it up. And, again...
maybe I'm getting confused because I'm listening at 1.5 times speed too. Maybe I got to slow it down a bit.
But for all the listeners out there who don't know, I've been extremely active on Facebook as of late. So it might be between Facebook and YouTube or Instagram. I've been on Instagram too. So I might be able to do these breakdowns on there. I think it'd be a lot easier and better for people too.
I think our best option. This is just me thinking out loud right now, might be like the Instagram stories or the Instagram live or the Facebook stories or the Facebook live, because I think we can honestly get away with using the NHL footage, and because it's only there for 24 hours then it's gone. It's not something that we save.
Exactly.
But it's something we could do frequently,
So that's definitely going to be something I want to do because I really enjoy doing this. I hope the viewers enjoy me doing this because I like doing it. Did you ever want to do one? I don't think we've ever had a breakdown with you yet.
No, I want to find. We got to do the research for it. I want to find the tools for it too, where I can draw on the video. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So I want to do something like that.
Okay, all right. All right. Let's move on to something pretty much even worse, and that's that's the Sens versus Oilers game that happened January 31st. If you don't know, that's that 8-5. I don't even know if you want to call it a blowout. It's just a goalie's nightmare right there. Stewart, which is who we talked about.
Stuart Skinner, right?
Stuart Skinner, yep. Who we talked about in the beginning of all this. Kind of I won't say a no-name, but kind of a name no one's ever heard of. We talked about for Edmonton. This is his first game, first win in the NHL, and what a crazy one that was. Matt Murray, I feel like it's not a breakdown, but I want to kind of... I know Matt Murray's had a rough year. I know we've kind of shitted on him, but I do want to, help Matt Murray out, especially in this game, because I feel like after this game, I saw a lot of negative shit with Matt Murray. We're just like, he got pulled, he's shit, this and that. But 3 goals were let in through him.
On 9 shots.
And he got pulled. The first 2 shots were just weird. They're just weird bounces that he couldn't do anything about. The first one was a crazy tip that he had to jump and try to get his body on, and it didn't go through. It went through him. The second one was why am I drawing a blank here? Do you remember that one at all? I think it was it was just a rough. Oh no, that's right. It was the one-timer across on the 5-on-4 power play, but I can't remember who scored that goal. But there was just nothing he could do. No one was there to cover him, and, he scored the goal. And then the third one is what you said that, he could have done something about. But, it's, I was saying quality over quantity, where it's like those, the quality of those shots, or the weird shots that went in. I mean, you see 3 goals on 9 shots. What I see is 3 crazy goals that, I feel like a bunch of goaltenders would have a hard time with.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, nobody asks how. They ask how many, you know, and that's just how it is. He doesn't have a good team in front of him, and that's why these opportunities are happening. Right. Yeah, they're bad bounces. Yeah, they're not on him, but at the end of the day, it sounds weird, but you got to make almost a better effort as an entire team. They're 2-8-1. It's just awful. They have so many growing pains to go through. It is what it is, and just Matt Murray has looked terrible. I did see something. They were trying to drum up some positives to talk about, and he was working with a goalie coach to recraft his game basically, because he knew that it was slipping in Pittsburgh. So
wow.
It's kind of good to see. So I think that's if he knows that he's coming into a team that's basically a nightmare, it's going to be growing pains.
Right.
Why not tweak my game and work on something that I think I could do differently?
Right. I haven't seen any post game interviews with him though. I wonder what. That's probably something I should look into, but because I wonder what his mindset is with it. Or he's been very, I feel like when especially an NHL goalie goes through something like this, like a rough time, he's kind of quiet for a bit, and I think that's that's something to give or take, because a goalie being quiet, he's either working on his game like we said Matt Murray is, or just being oh, this is just, I'll get over it. And I feel like most of those goalies that say, oh, I'm going to get over it, all of a sudden they're in the barn, or you never see them in the NHL again.
Yeah, and I think the goaltending position as a whole, it's just riding the hot hand and working with who's working right now, and moving away from what's not, in order to, stay hot, stay relevant, and make playoffs. Especially in a season like this where there's only 56 games, and we're already between 9 and 14 games into the season. Some of these teams are going to start to be looking at it from the outside we can't even make playoffs now, Right.
So if this doesn't work, if him retraining himself and that doesn't work and he's still bad, he's got a no trade clause on his contract. This year is his 1 year out of 4 on his contract with the Sens for $6.25 million. Again, if we don't see anything positive coming from him, anytime soon, within I don't know, I'll say I'll let him go for the rest of the season, but saying next season it's just back to what it was this season. How long before you see Ottawa just all right, man,
Well, I think that they paid him because they want him to be their guy. Mm-hmm. The only reason that I would ever see them move from him would be if someone comes in that's so hot that they make him start over Murray. But even then, they're not moving from him. And I think that that's, one, not going to happen. And two, again, just the growing pains. They're going to stick with Murray. They're going to make him their guy. And he's going to suck for 4 years with the Senators as a whole. You know, it just is what it is. The team's got to grow.
It's so kind of frustrating to see. But
it's a very similar situation to Detroit, don't you think?
Yeah, goalie tandem wise, yeah.
They're just gonna have to ride him and keep him and just take it to the house. You know,
right. I never think about that. But I was just thinking about, as we're talking, I was just thinking about Matt Murray and what you were talking about Binnington, where these goalies come in and they just like
flash in the pan
as shit, and then all of a sudden it just goes to shit.
We haven't really heard anything from Columbus Blue Jackets. Elvis Merzlikins, how's he been? I mean, they're second in their division, which is kind of nuts. 5-4-3, like that's not a crazy good record. But this is the weird division where 3 of the teams have only played 8 games and the other ones have played 12. You know,
right?
It's weird. Like Tampa's in first in this division. They've only played 8 games. They're tied for first with the Blue Jackets, who have played 12. So Tampa has the same number of points with 4 games in hand, you know?
And we're seeing a bunch of games being postponed, too. So that's going to start affecting things, too.
Yeah, things are gonna look different, you know?
So, I don't know. I was like, because I'm also a Penguins fan, too. And, like, I was a big fan of Matt Murray, man. Like, I loved him winning the Cup with the Pens, man. Just such a great goalie. And then, again, I don't know what happened to him, so it's kind of sad to see. But I do hope he bounces back and, becomes the goalie that he once was. But I don't know. I feel like we should move on because Peter Mrazek got out injured. And then we see James Reimer come in. Now, James Reimer, for the past, I'd say, few seasons, has been okay at best. Mm-hmm. But he came in on fire. What do you think this is going to be? You got Alex Nedeljkovic. Got that right.
Nice. Nailed it.
So James Reimer and Alex Nedeljkovic.
I think this team's going to look a lot like, now in the goaltending department, a lot like Washington. Mm-hmm. Samsonov and Vanacek are actually both very hot right now. Right. But I think that they're going to need that from Reimer and Nedeljkovic to step up and take the workload that Mrazek was doing and really perform, you know?
Right. Reimer has been absolutely hot. We were watching the shootout with him and Kane, man. Like, the absolute... Oh, man.
Yeah, we all know what Patrick Kane can do in a shootout. It's nuts. The guy made at least, what do you think, 12 different stick handle moves going forehand, backhand, trying to get him to bite.
And Reimer just like, nope.
He held, yep. He almost bit on one, and then that forced Kane to go the other way, and he knew it. So,
that says a lot about a goalie, too, when you're like, your patience is there, especially against Kane, and especially against, how you've been for the past 2 seasons, where I feel like last season or the season before, Kane would just rip it right by him. But for some reason now, he's back to being hot, and that patience, man, that came in handy.
That was huge. That was huge of him. One thing that is interesting about Mrazek going out injured, I was thinking about this when it happened. Reimer gets pulled into the game cold. This is just the rule. This is how hockey works. If your starting goaltender gets injured, he gets obviously taken out, and then the backup goes in, and he doesn't get any warm-up at all. Now, in baseball, the slowest sport in the world, the pitchers get 10 pitches to warm themselves up. They've been in the bullpen. They're ready to go. They're getting ready. Why doesn't the NHL make something where, in the case of an injury, it's a little different, but maybe something like a bullpen, like a shooting galley, where the backup goalie is like, all right, this is looking bad for Murray. He's let in 2 on 7. If he lets one more in before 10 shots, you're going in Hogberg. Mm-hmm. So maybe Hogberg's down a little shooting range where he's taking shots, he's warming up, stretching.
I don't get. I wish they did do that. I don't see why they did. It's bad enough going in cold, since the only shots you took were from warm-ups, which is, I don't know, probably...
And you're not starting that night, so your warm-up isn't the same as the starter. He's getting warmed up,
Yep. So your thoughts... sorry. Your thoughts, opinions on the game, too, is you're just sitting on the bench. So
I'm chilling. I'm working the door tonight.
I'm not... I'm not breaking a sweat tonight. I'm just, hanging out. So, you see the backup goalies in, during warm-ups too, to take a few shots and just kind of glide away and just skate around. So,
and you've also seen them get hurt coming in for someone who has just gotten hurt before too, which is why they have the emergency backup goalie situation now.
And we've seen it a few times in the past few years.
And that's why I think like getting these guys warmed up, even just like, hey, give them 30 seconds, a minute commercial break to stretch more, give the players some pucks to come in, cycle a bit, and give them a good warm up. Like there's no harm. There's no reason not to do it. In my eyes. I mean, that's coming from a goalie's perspective. But
yeah, no, you are right. And you do want to see it. I feel like the other team wouldn't want to see it because
God, no.
Line them
but
up.
if it happened to them, they'd want it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like a mutually beneficial thing.
So I don't see why. I don't see why it can't happen and shouldn't happen. Yeah. I wonder what the rule is for that. Now we're talking about that.
It's literally just you're in. That's it.
And that's it.
The rule.
Give it like a quick stretch, and the ref comes around and be like, "Hey, you good?"
You got like 30 seconds to stretch.
Oh, it's wild. So weird. I feel like that should change. That'll be an interesting. That'll be interesting. If what? Yeah, like 30 seconds. That's it, man. I think the games would be so much different back then. I think you'll see give the goalie like just 30 seconds to just warm up with a few pucks. I think like you might see games where all of a sudden like the goalie either gets pulled, right, so he comes in cold, or the starting goalie for some reason gets hurt and he comes in cold. Like they're down like 6-3 or something like that, and that's why he gets pulled or whatever.
Yeah.
If you just give that guy the goalie just to warm up just a little bit, man, you might see games like come back around where just like all of a sudden their team comes back and wins like 7-6 or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. Good thing to talk about, but I don't think.
I don't know if they'll change anything.
Yeah. So, speaking of goalies, more goalies. The Flames vs. Jets on February 1st. Hellebuck lets in this goal from the other blue line. So, sorry, my throat here. Pretty much like past the center ice too. So my question is, would it have gone in if you challenged that puck? So Hellebuck was pretty deep in that net when it came, like it bounced in. So I kind of did some research. All these went in, and I talked about and I put in if they challenged it or not. So Sebastian Guerin challenged it. Dubnyk challenged. Matt Murray challenged. Talbot challenged. Crawford challenged. Lundqvist was deep. Jake Allen was deep. Brodeur was deep. Corey Schneider challenged. And Vesa Toskala challenged. So whether challenged or deep, these weird goals go in.
The one thing that this information seems kind of like void without seeing the saves that were made on weird bounces from like crazy angles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if these 10 all went in and there's one dude that made the save because of something, you know what I mean? Obviously there's more, but if there's like, I don't know, 20 guys that made the save the challenge and only 3 guys that were deep made it, you know? It's just like we need like to dig deeper, but we don't have that information available, you know?
Just, I want to bring this up for especially your opinion, because I've seen, I wouldn't say from like a regular ice though, but we've seen shots come from like center ice for like especially 3-on-3s. Now, how do you play that? You come out, right?
So yeah, if that puck's bouncing and it's like, it kind of depends where the puck is going to bounce, because like I kind of read it. Like if it's bouncing like 5 feet in front of my crease, I'm coming to the top of the crease. I'm meeting the puck right before it bounces, so I'm ready for it. If it's bouncing like, I don't know, above the hash marks in our zone, I'll still be like top of the crease, but I'm not challenging it. I'm back a little more so that I can read that second bounce. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you have to like kind of time the bounce, because that's really what's going to throw it off. But this guy, Hellebuck, just looked completely unprepared. Just didn't know what he was doing. He
did.
Just think he didn't expect it.
It was so
honestly.
deep, and I didn't see like a curve or anything. It just kind of.
It did kind of take one little bounce, but not enough that
nothing crazy
was justifiable. You know.
So it's one of those bounces. It is one of those bounces that does happen in any league, especially in the NHL. You see it. I mean, I just talked about Brodeur letting one in. So, but I wonder if we could find a way. Or if, like, it's difficult to, like, practice that. Like, why would you practice it? One,
you shouldn't.
But you shouldn't.
It's a waste of time. You should practice something that would boost your game, you know.
But I feel like there has to be, like, a better way to, you know.
I think honestly it's practicing deflections and tips in front of the net, because that's the same thing, but the bounce is coming off of a player and they happen more frequently. So if you're able to read and play a tip in front or a deflection, how do they tell you to play that? They tell you to get out and challenge it, get as close to the tip as you can, which is what I say that I do. I get out and I get as close to the bounce as I can, because that's where the tip is in this situation.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I saw it, man, and I'm just like, there's got to be something. But yeah, you're right. When
Hate to see
when
it.
you talk about it, you hate to see it, but it happens. So we'll move on from that. We got to talk about the retro jerseys from the Kings game. So you had the Ducks versus Kings on February 2nd. Before I talked about Cal Peterson,
Nice.
who I didn't like. I don't dislike. I don't fucking hate. But he's not the goalie to,
I think
he can rely on.
He's
you know
like
what I'm saying?
where the Kings are right now. He is like a Kings goalie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're not in a good spot, and Peterson's not, crazy good.
No.
I put him with like the Bernier and the Reimer like backup area. What do you think? Not even that
Better.
good?
No.
He's better than
say
them?
better
Okay.
than them, yeah. But like not that much better,
Okay.
But
Okay.
he did look really good. Even though it was a 3-1 loss, he did look really good in that game. One thing I noticed too, I feel like big games like that. I wouldn't say big, but like retro games. I feel like retro jersey, like
I don't know. In my eyes, I'm like, who gives a hoot?
yeah.
And I think that's how
don't
the
know.
players see it too.
Yeah.
Like, I bet Quick wants to show off his gear, but I'm sure they'll wear it again this season.
Oh
you know?
yeah, for sure.
It's not like he's gonna at the end of the season be like, "What the hell? Peterson got to play both retro nights and I didn't."
Right.
I don't give a shit about that.
But
His pads look sick though, didn't they?
oh god,
They're nice.
Both of them, man. Like that was so
And
sick.
I didn't like the Kings retro jerseys until I saw them wearing it on the ice. Like everybody looked nice in them. I think personally, like that was nice. It was a sharp look.
Sorry. I do wonder, since Peterson's been playing a lot, I feel like a bunch of the highlights that I've seen Peterson's been in. And it made me question, like, I wonder if LA wants to push Peterson to mature and get more games in. Because before this season, he's only had 19 starts in 2 seasons, while last season he was down with the Ontario Reign in the AHL. Quick having 5 starts with a 2-1 record and a 3.54 GAA, and Peterson with 4 starts and a 1-3 record with a 2.29 GAA. Could this be a LA thing where they're thinking ahead, or is like, let's give this guy some time, maybe mature a bit, and just see where it goes? Because they do. I feel like the Kings do want that 1A 1B tandem that we just talked about with Jake Allen and Carey Price. I don't know if they're gonna get it with Peterson, but you never know. What's your take on it?
I mean, this is the only way to make it happen. You have to get Peterson up there and give him the starts and give him the experience, And I mean, obviously the Kings don't look crazy good, but they're doing all right this season. Never mind. They're 3-4-2. Thought they were doing better. But yeah, I mean, I kind of expected them to be where the Ducks are, 4-5-2, and the Kings are 3-4-2. Like, I expected to see them in different situations here, different swaps. But Gibson's looked really hot lately too, right?
Gibson's always looked good. He's I feel like not as good as last season though, but I mean we're still
early,
still early. Moving on from that, I guess the last thing that I want to talk about, we got more to talk about though too, is Patrick Laine came out with the in the Columbus Blue Jackets practice, and he looked fucking miserable. I mean,
I don't think he's a very happy looking guy to begin with, but
he's a weird looking dude to begin with too, but he looked miserable. And so he's been with the Jets since he entered the league back in 2016. And with that knowledge, man, I feel like with this trade, I feel like you would be miserable because, I mean, it's kind of like you came into the family, you're settled in with the Winnipeg Jets, and now you're a great player, you're like a known player for that team, and all of a sudden you're getting traded to the Columbus.
Dude, I think at the end of the day, he made his own bed. Now he has to lie in it because him and Dubois both wanted out of their situations. They wanted to go to bigger markets, better teams, and both organizations were like, "No, you can't control me. Like, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do with you. You can have fun in Columbus now."
Yeah.
But I think Laine is going to make the best of it here. He's going to light it up, and it is what it is. I mean, it does suck. He is leaving a family. He'd been there for 5 years or 4.5, but. I mean, I saw a wicked good meme, though. It said, Patrick Laine is requesting a trade out of Columbus now that he saw the retro jerseys that they had. That's hilarious. I did have one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, the D'Angelo situation in in New York at the Rangers. Tony DeAngelo placed on waivers after getting into a disagreement with Georgiev and shoving him. Did you read into this at all, or?
I run into it a little bit. You brought it up, but I didn't really.
Yeah, so I did some deep diving. I watched a long interview with the coach, the GM, and maybe the owner for New York, and they were just super open about it. They were like, 11 minutes, ask whatever questions you want. We'll answer them if we want to. We won't if we don't want to. And some of them were just like, they were trying to dig deep into the situation and figure out specifics, and they were like, we're not going to get into that. Like, it happened. You know what happened. What happened that has been reported is accurate.
Right.
We're not talking about anything else, like situation-wise. And they did mention that he has had situations like this in the past in the minors. I believe there were like racial slurs used when he was in the minors and stuff. He's done a lot of like shit basically and just hasn't learned.
Right.
And the coach and GM both sat him down and said, if you have one more screw up, if your name's on anything in the league, like, you're done. We're putting you on waivers.
Right.
And then he did this and it happened, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you got to go by their word and be like,
exactly. That was what he said too. He's like, I got to stick by my word. So I respect it a lot. I don't really respect that DeAngelo can't learn from this, from the multiple times. I'm all for second, third chances, but now figure it out.
Does he have a lot of teams looking at him?
I don't think like a crazy number. And this is almost similar to like the Mike Hoffman thing where he almost didn't make any team. He didn't make any roster team straight out of the gate. He had to go to a PTO with St. Louis and try out, and then ended up making the team.
Yeah.
But I could see the same kind of like black mark being put on him. Like, who's going to want that kind of stuff in the locker room, you know?
It goes down. Like, you could be one of the greatest players, man, but like if you have like sort of like a
bad reputation.
If you have a bad reputation like that, man, and like it follows you. It doesn't matter how good you are, man. Like, management's gonna see that. Other team members gonna see that. Be like, I don't want to play.
You're a public figure, man. Like, think about this.
We could find someone just as good as you.
And I mean, honestly, like, I don't think that the Georgiev thing was necessarily a huge thing. Like, if it was just any other player that did that, it'd be like, all right, it happened, we're over it. But this was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, I think.
Yeah, I heard it was someone else too on the team too that he was giving shit to, and
I think someone else stepped in, like once he shoved Georgiev, and it turned into something. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that.
It's unfortunate to see. Sometimes you see it, but not in this sense. I think.
I like that the Rangers were so open about it and like willing to talk to the media. Yeah, some teams like make their press release and just there you go, have a nice day,
and just that's it.
Yeah.
So we got anything else going on?
Last thing I had, very tough news for the NWHL. I was really looking forward to their season. I was watching their games, following the Boston Pride. Love their logo, their makeup, but they are canceling the season now. They had one team had to drop out. All right, so I should probably start from the beginning. They did a 2-week tournament bubble for their whole season rather than just the playoffs like the NHL did. So it's 2 weeks. I think there's 6 teams in the league. Everybody plays each other once, and then there's like the top 4 make playoffs, and then we'll, get our cup given out, which is the Isabel Cup. So basically a week in, one of the teams had 2 cases of COVID. So that team, eventually, they were quarantined, and they were like, well, the league ends in 7 days. You have to quarantine for 7 to 10 days, so we're just going to have you drop out. And then another team was, like, 2 or 3 days later, was like, they got it. And not from that team, necessarily. They just got it, too.
Right.
And they were forced to drop, too. And then at that point, the entire league was just like, we can't do it. I think they were in, what's the, Lake Placid up in New York. And I think... not the CDC, but like their health organization shut them down and was like, this isn't working, guys. You got to go home.
It's difficult in a small league, especially small league. Like the NHL is able to do this because of how much money they have and how much they can put into all the resources. Whereas the NWHL, I wouldn't say they're hurting for money, but they don't have the money to make it as perfect.
I would say they're still hurting for money. Like the average salary there is $20,000. I think I talked about it 1 week too. That one of the players is like teaching her online class of like third graders from the bubble.
Oh god!
So like they're working full-time jobs while they do this.
Wow.
It's crazy. It sucks to see, but there's no fan base yet. They're trying to grow the game and develop it, and now it gets shut down because of COVID. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's rough for everyone, man. I'm glad to see the NHL, doing what they're able to, but I think this is a look into other leagues that are like small. I think AHL is going through almost a similar thing where teams are like backing out.
There were 4 teams that didn't even play the season. Are you saying teams are backing out now too?
No, I'm talking about that like this season.
Okay.
Yeah, that
I didn't know if there was something new that I missed.
I know they're AHL and like have money, but like it's not like as crazy where just like, oh, you can put these guys in like their own hotel and just test them every day, and this like it's not. So, I mean, when does this all like get back to normal? Like, I know the vaccine's out and everything, but like, what are we looking at for like normal, man? I know in Boston we were talking about March. Who's saying March or whatever will have people back in the garden to like watch, but like who even knows then? So it's rough to know that we're so close to the finish line, but like also not like knowing when everything will be back to normal. And that's the frustrating part with all this, and especially hearing about this too. We're just like, oh, we're so close to being back to normal, and then now you get the NWHL. Just be like, we can't. We gotta, we're gonna suspend the rest of the season. So
right.
I don't know what to add from there, but it's rough. What do we got going on this week for you? You got work. You got.
This week just working, man. Just the usual. I mean, Super Bowl Sunday, I'll be actually working, so I won't even watch.
Yeah.
I might listen if I want to, but I'm not crazy invested in it.
If you want to talk about it next week, I'll watch it.
Yeah, might as well, right?
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Talk about it a little bit.
Watch it. Tom Brady winning.
It's definitely a cool storyline. Like Brady leaves New England, goes to Tampa. We talked about how they have no weapons. They have plenty of weapons, clearly. They're in the Super Bowl. Brady makes it work. And I mean, you're seeing the old regime in Tom Brady, and you're seeing like the next generation in Patrick Mahomes, who's the quarterback for the Chiefs. He's like the next best quarterback. He was in it, I think, a couple times now for the Super Bowl.
We're in Discord, and you were saying how Boston was just like this leg end with all the sports.
Yeah.
But I think we're seeing Florida.
Yeah, because the Tampa Bay Rays, I think they won their conference. I don't think they won all of what do they call it, the World Series in baseball. The Miami Heat's looking really strong.
Tampa Bay Lightning.
The Tampa Bay Lightning is obviously really strong, just won a cup. And Florida's the Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right. Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl. Florida Panthers, I didn't look at them. I think they're up there, though. I think they're like 3rd or 4th in the division, though. So
okay,
they're getting good. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely growing, getting better. But it was more like the dynasty aspect look of it is what I was looking at, you know?
Right.
But like you see, obviously Chicago had their time.
Right.
With the Cubs winning a World Series right around when the Blackhawks got theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You saw in the not the Bulls. The Bulls didn't do well then. But then you have, obviously, Boston has been crazy for like 15 years, I feel like, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then L.A. was good with the Dodgers. And the Lakers are good now.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of cool to see. And it's almost like when one team or when two teams go, the other team's like, all right, we gotta pull our weight too. Like the Celtics got one when Boston was on their thing, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Want to call it a night here?
Yeah, want to rip a shot, buddy?
Let's do a little ripper. I got the Jack Daggies honey, Tennessee honey.
Why do you say Jack Daggies? Is that a Australian thing?
Oh, we talked about this last week.
Did we? I didn't
dudes
listen.
from I believe you.
Just of course I listened, buddy.
Yeah, then what was it? Yeah, that's right.
Australia.
The dudes from Epic Meltdown.
Ah, that's right. I remember that now.
The Jack Daniels, and they always call it Jack Daggies, and ever since it just got stuck.
I have Smirnoff Lime, so I got a water to chase with.
Pussy.
Disgusting, dude. I don't want to drink this.
I didn't want to drink that margarita you made.
Dude, that when the guy at Burke made that margarita, it was like the best margarita I've ever had in my life. I hate tequila, and it was delicious. I finished it. It wasn't as good as his, but when I was done, it was good.
I come over here, and he's making like this. He's like, I'm cutting up limes and shit, and we're making the tequila, whatever the hell, margarita. I'm not a tequila fan at all. Like, me and tequila don't mix. And I was the guinea pig. He's like, "Yeah, try it." And like, all
You were.
All it was like a little pour in a glass, and like it just smelled so
It did. It
raw.
didn't smell good, but
It was bad.
I mean, you smell everything before you drink it, like a weirdo.
Yeah, you gotta know what. I don't know. I like to do it.
And then you go, ugh. Like expect, like it was supposed to smell good. All right, bud. Cheers.
Cheers to episode 11.
Episode 11 in the books.
All right. Yeah.
Smirnoff's not good vodka, but the lime is very strong.
Oh, I don't like that. Why did I like it like 2 episodes ago? I was like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and I hated it, and you were like, oh, that was good.
I don't know, man. So before we send everyone off, I had to get on. I didn't say had to. I guess I had to really get this thing going and promote. I had to get back on social media. For anyone who doesn't know me, I pretty much like deleted all my social media and got away from it. So I had to like back on. I'm very active on Facebook. We have it in the Linktree app. Linktree.
You have your Facebook on there now? I know you had like Matt's Twitter and our Twitter.
Yep, it's on there.
You have yours now.
Yep.
Okay, we'll put mine up there too. I have my own Twitter and my own Facebook.
Okay, so we'll add those two. Add me on Facebook. I do a lot on there. It's a lot easier for me to get on there, and I have a bunch of like work friends and everything too. So this week has been real fun posting stuff.
Yeah, you've been very active. It's cool.
Been very active on there. Twitter,
you almost seem like you like it.
I like talking about hockey and actually getting feedback.
Yeah,
because on Twitter, I feel like everyone talks about Twitter, but then like I'm on Twitter and like there's nobody like responding to me.
You got to build a following. That's what it is. I mean, with anything,
so
like you have friends that you've added on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like maybe go find those friends on Twitter and see if they like some of them respond there, kind of thing.
Right.
But that's all it is. It's building an audience.
Right. So I guess So I'll work on Twitter and start getting everything going on there. But I'm way more active on Facebook. So definitely add me on Facebook. I think that's where I'm gonna start doing the breakdowns. As long as YouTube doesn't shut me down.
Yeah, we'll see. We gotta look into it and figure it out. I'm really looking forward to that though.
Right.
I'm excited for it.
So follow me on there. The Linktree's been updated. So I'll get Chris's Facebook and Twitter on there. I thought I had your Twitter on there. I guess not. So anyway, I'll be updated for you guys. So just click the link in the description for the Apple and Spotify listeners. Again, I can't click anything, but I have the URL on there. If you could just copy the URL and put it in the search bar, and everything for us is on there. Want to take it off?
Yeah, man. Good luck to Detroit the rest of the season. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If there's anything you want to see us cover next episode, let us know. Our links are in the description below, and we'll see you all next week.
I hope you enjoy our thumbnail. Have a good week.